Hi guys, Miss Torelli here. Today we're going to be talking about gradualism versus punctuated equilibrium. And there has been a long-standing debate among scientists about these two theories and which of these two theories is correct. So let's get started. First of all, we have to ask how fast evolution happens. That's really the central question that we're going to be trying to answer today. How fast does evolution happen? Well, we have two options. The first option is that organisms evolve with small changes gradually over time. That each day they change a little bit, and over many, many days those changes add up to big changes. The second option is that there are no changes for very long periods of time, and then all of a sudden change happens very suddenly in bursts and starts. Which one do you think is more correct? Well, the right answer is, in fact, both of them are correct. There used to be a big debate about which one of these was actually happening, and as scientists studied this, we found, in fact, both of these happen. It just depends on which organism you're looking at and which time periods you're looking at. So we've seen both of these happen. So evolution is change over time, and the question, of course, would be how much time. So the first way that evolution occurs is called gradualism. Gradualism, much like the name suggests, is gradual change. It's slow, it's gradual, it's continuous, it happens day after day after day at about the same pace. An example that we've seen is human beings. That's how we evolved. We evolved very slowly. We didn't evolve in bursts and starts. Our evolution happened more or less at the same pace. In your notebook, tell me, what do you think gradualism would look like? If you had to graph gradualism, what would gradualism look like? All right, so here's the graph of gradualism. It looks like this. As you can see, it happens it just looks like a straight line. This is time and this is evolution. Gradualism happens at the exact same pace. It increases by the same amount every day until pretty soon you have some serious changes. And species happen very gradually. So we would call this a species change. And as we keep going, pretty soon, then we would call this a species change. So that's how that would look. That would be gradual evolution. You can see it happens at the exact same pace. No matter where you are along this line, the change from this point to the next point is the same, no matter where you are on the line. Punctuated equilibrium is the other theory. This theory says that evolutionary change happens in bursts and starts. And in between those periods of fast evolution, there's relative stability. Nothing much happens in between. So the example would be pandas. Describe, what do you think a graph of punctuated equilibrium would look like? Well, punctuated equilibrium would look more or less like this. You can see the changes happening very quickly, and then it stays more or less the same for a while. And then, all of a sudden, it'll happen very quickly again, probably prompted by the environment changing. So if there's some kind of flood or some kind of fast change in the environment, a meteor, something like that, that really changes the environment, you'll see the species has to change very quickly with the environment, and then it'll stay the same for long periods of time, and then change very quickly again, and then stay the same for long periods of time, and then change very quickly again and stay the same for long periods of time. So that's punctuated equilibrium. You can think of punctuation just like in English class, right? A common piece of punctuation would be, for example, a period. Right? That's a common piece of punctuation, or an exclamation point. And they both show the end of something. They both show the end of a sentence. So exclamation points and periods, they both show the end of a sentence, they show the end of things, and then you start a new sentence. So it shows things broken up into pieces. That's what punctuation does in English class, right? Well, in science, punctuated equilibrium is going to show that same sense of starting and stopping. So you'd start and then stop for a little while, and then start and then stop for a little while. So that's punctuated equilibrium. Equilibrium just means staying the same. If you've reached an equilibrium, it means nothing is changing. Equilibrium comes from the word equal. So equilibrium means everything's equal, everything's balanced, everything's staying the same. That's punctuated equilibrium. So here are two graphs. You can see the differences between gradualism and punctuated equilibrium. Gradualism, it's happening very slowly over here. This would be what? What would we call this over here on the left? That's right, it would be a phylogenetic tree. And over here, we would call this a cladogram. So you can see over here, it's punctuated equilibrium. It's no change and then sudden change, and then no change and then sudden change. So you can see if I'm representing gradualism or punctuated equilibrium in a graph, this is how, it was one of the ways that I could show that. All right, so that's actually all for today. We're going to be doing a demonstration of the differences between gradualism and punctuated equilibrium. It's going to be a group game, and the winner will get a prize. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys.